For millions of fans around the world, it's impossible to imagine Outlander without Sam Heughan. His portrayal of Jamie Fraser, the fiery Scottish warrior whose love story with Claire Fraser captivated audiences for nearly a decade, has become iconic. But behind the adoration and the accolades, whispers began to circulate. At one point in the show's history, Sam was nearly replaced. The possibility alone sent shockwaves through the fandom. Could it really be true? The rumor surfaced quietly at first, whispered in online forums and fan discussions. Some claimed it dated back to the early days of casting, when producers reportedly worried that Sam's rugged intensity might not translate to mainstream audiences. Others suggested that during the grueling shoot of the first seasons, creative tensions behind the scenes had reached a boiling point, sparking conversations about whether he was the right fit, after all. Whatever the origin, the speculation caught fire, and once it did, it was unstoppable. To understand why this rumor struck such a nerve, you have to remember the stakes. Outlander wasn't just another period drama. From the moment it premiered, it carried the weight of Diana Gabaldon's beloved book series and the expectations of a fiercely loyal fanbase. Casting Jamie Fraser was the make-or-break decision, the linchpin on which the entire series rested. Sam, then a relatively unknown Scottish actor, had won the role after years of grinding auditions. For fans, his chemistry with Caitríona Balfe, who played Claire, was nothing short of lightning in a bottle. But in the ruthless world of television, even lightning can be questioned. Reports suggested that studio executives grew anxious about ratings pressure and the immense cost of production. Outlander was ambitious, lavish costumes, sprawling sets, and emotionally charged storytelling that demanded everything from its cast. Insiders hinted that Sam's commitment to authenticity, his willingness to perform brutal fight sequences, to expose emotional vulnerability, to immerse himself fully in Jamie's world, sometimes put him at odds with the streamlined efficiency producers craved. Was he too intense? Too uncompromising? Then came the whispers of personal strain. The brutal filming schedule, often in harsh Scottish weather, tested the endurance of everyone on set. But for Sam, who carried the narrative weight of the series on his shoulders, the toll was heavier still. Anonymous accounts painted a picture of exhaustion, of conflicts over how far an actor should be pushed physically and emotionally. Some even claimed that early test screenings raised doubts about whether international audiences would embrace his ruggedness, or whether the studio wanted a more conventional leading man. For fans, the idea was unthinkable. How could anyone else play Jamie Fraser? Entire fan pages erupted in fury at the notion. Outlander without Sam is not Outlander, one passionate supporter declared. Another wrote, "You can't replace chemistry. Jamie and Claire are Sam and Caitríona. No one else could capture that." As debates raged across social media, the rumor transformed from quiet speculation into a fandom-wide crisis. Journalists picked up on the frenzy, adding fuel to the fire with provocative headlines. Is Outlander's future in jeopardy? And, behind the curtain, casting woes for Starz's biggest hit? Though no official confirmation came, the silence only made things worse. Fans began to wonder if there really had been a moment when Sam's future on the show hung in the balance. The irony, of course, was that Sam had already proven himself indispensable. His performance had earned him critical acclaim, fan devotion, and recognition that extended far beyond the Outlander universe. Yet Hollywood is notorious for its contradictions, and success doesn't always shield an actor from scrutiny. The notion that even someone as central as Sam could have been on the chopping block exposed a chilling truth about the industry. No one is truly untouchable. The tension reached a breaking point when Sam himself was asked in an interview about the pressures of playing such a beloved role. He laughed lightly, deflecting as he often does, but then added, "It hasn't always been easy. There were times when I wondered if I'd even get to keep going." The comment, ambiguous as it was, only poured gasoline on the fire. Was that a subtle admission? A veiled reference to those behind-the-scenes struggles fans had speculated about for years? By then, the question had become more than gossip. It was a mystery, a puzzle that fans were desperate to solve. What had really happened in those early years of Outlander? Was Sam ever truly at risk of losing the role of Jamie Fraser? And if so, why had the story been kept in the shadows? As the fandom braced for answers, one thing was certain. The truth, when it emerged, would be even more shocking than the rumors. And the man at the center of it all, Sam Heughan, had hints to share that would finally pull back the curtain on one of the show's most closely guarded secrets. When the storm of speculation reached its height, fans demanded answers. Was it true? Had Sam Heughan, the man who had become synonymous with Jamie Fraser, really come close to being replaced? For a time, the silence from stars and the showrunners only deepened the mystery. Then, slowly, fragments of the truth began to emerge. Industry insiders revealed that the situation wasn't quite as simple as nearly fired, but it was far more complex than fans had ever imagined. In the earliest days of Outlander, as the series was preparing to launch, pressure weighed heavily on everyone involved. The production was one of the most ambitious that Starz had ever undertaken, with sprawling sets, grueling schedules, and enormous financial stakes. Executives wanted guarantees. They wanted reassurance that their gamble on a relatively unknown actor would pay off. Behind the scenes, Sam had faced skepticism. Some early screen tests raised questions about whether he could balance Jamie's duality, the fierce Highland warrior and the tender romantic partner that fans adored in the books. Could one actor embody both the strength and the vulnerability that made Jamie Fraser unforgettable? For Sam, the challenge was not only professional but deeply personal. He had fought for years to break through in the industry, enduring countless rejections. Losing this role, even before it truly began, would have been devastating. Adding to the pressure were creative disagreements. Some producers initially wanted a more polished, leading man, someone they believed would appeal to American audiences. But author Diana Gabaldon and casting director Suzanne Smith were vocal in their support for Sam, insisting that he was the living embodiment of Jamie. He was Jamie from the very first moment, Gabaldon later remarked. Without their advocacy, the conversation about replacing him might have gained more traction than anyone dared to admit. But the difficulties didn't end there. Once filming began, the realities of production pushed everyone to their limits. Long hours, harsh weather, and emotionally demanding scenes tested even the most seasoned actors. Sam, shouldering the bulk of the narrative, often worked 6 days a week under brutal conditions. According to whispers from the set, there were moments when executives questioned whether he could sustain that intensity over multiple seasons. The physical toll was evident. He performed many of his own stunts, suffered injuries, and pushed himself to extremes to deliver authenticity. It was during one particularly grueling stretch of filming, sources say, that discussions of alternatives arose in hushed tones among higher-ups. Nothing official was ever put in motion, but the very fact that such conversations happened was enough to later fuel the fire of rumors. For Sam, the pressure was real. He knew the stakes. If he faltered, if he failed to convince, there were others waiting in the wings. Yet instead of breaking, he fought back, with discipline, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the role. He trained harder, honed his craft, and deepened his connection with Caitríona Balfe, whose chemistry with him became the heartbeat of the series. Their partnership, on and off camera, silenced doubts. By the end of season 1, even the harshest skeptics had to admit, Sam Heughan was irreplaceable. Years later, when Sam reflected on those early struggles in an interview, he admitted, "It wasn't easy. There were times when I wondered if I'd even last. But challenges shape you. They make you dig deeper. Jamie Fraser became part of me, and I wasn't about to let him go." His words confirmed what fans had long suspected, that the rumors were rooted in kernels of truth, born from real moments of doubt and conflict. The revelation only deepened fan loyalty. Instead of seeing Sam as invincible, they now saw him as human. A man who had fought for the role just as fiercely as Jamie fought for Claire. It added another layer of poignancy to every scene, knowing how close the world had come to losing the actor who defined them. By the time the dust settled, the narrative had shifted. The nearly fired rumor was no longer a threat hanging over Sam's legacy. It had become part of the legend, a reminder that even great roles are forged in fire, through uncertainty and struggle. The very fact that he had survived those doubts and emerged stronger made his performance all the more powerful. And as Outlander moved toward its conclusion, fans clung to this truth. The series might one day end, but Sam Heughan's Jamie Fraser would never be forgotten. What began as a rumor of failure had transformed into a testament of resilience. The shocking truth wasn't that Sam nearly lost his role, it was that he had almost been denied the chance to show the world what only he could give.